I was out there on the street, also walking around.
We'll call the Board of Adjustment meeting to order for October 21st. I think the record should reflect that all 5 regular members are here. I would ask that the board direct their attention to the previous meeting's minutes, and I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
We have one case today before continuing. The Board of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body. State statute requires that the board base its decisions only on testimony given under oath. The board's decision in this matter is final in that they do not go to the City Council as a recommendation. Any quasi-judicial decision made by the board that is contrary to your wishes can be appealed to Superior Court. And any decision made by the board requires that 4 of the 5 members be in favor of a motion in order for it to be considered valid. If for any reason there are not 4 votes, then the motion fails. First case tonight, BOA 10.20.25. Application from Robert Troll. So before the case is heard, if there's anyone here wishing to speak, please come forward now so you can be sworn in, including Mr. Troll, please.
Well, you want to get sworn in if you are. No.
Thank you.
And just a quick reminder for when we get to the voting portion of it, to make this simple, if you will entertain the motion to approve, and then even the person that makes that motion, if they would like to go against that, can vote against that. It just keeps the tally a little easier to go through later on.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley.
Of course.
Go ahead, Gene.
This is an application from Robert Troll requesting a variance of section 153.057A, numbers 2 and 3 of the UDO. If granted, the variance would allow 3 accessory structures to be within the side setback. The property is located at 215 North Laurel Street. This is just an aerial showing you the property. It's currently zoned R10. It's 0.2731 acres. The current use of the property is single-family residential, and the adjoining properties are also single-family residential. In this case, y'all may remember we heard earlier in the summer, and he was requesting 0 setback, so he's here with a different request now. So these are just the visuals. This is just kind of a side view. I was just kind of trying to show you the side of his house, his fence line, and what it looks from that view. This measurement may not be entirely accurate. This is just off of GIS, and it looks like I went a little tiny bit past the house line, but his house is somewhere around 6 feet off the property line, maybe less.
So Gene, that says 6.5?
It says 6.5, but here, well, I was going to show you. We can look at the GIS together if you want and see what it says. It's hard to use that tool. I'll show you, and we can, it's approximate. The GIS isn't perfect. I was just trying to give you an idea. But this way we can look at it a little closer than what I've got right there. And you can kind of see how we do it. I'm just going to go closer. I'm not going to do the aerial because it's easier this way. But we just put a little mark there. And then you just, it's not exact. And see, this one says 4.51. So it's kind of a guesstimate. And if we look at the photography, to roll out to 50 feet, you know, so it's a guesstimate, and the only way we'd know for it to be exact is for him to get a survey, which we don't require those for accessory structures.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So his proposal is to allow a reduction of the setback for the 3 accessory structures. The accessory structures should be 10 feet off that side property line, and he's requesting to reduce it to 5 feet off the property line. And he just provided a visual. This is something he drew out for us. And there's a couple more visuals we can go through, but I'll let him explain them if he wants to when he gets to, I put them in the report so he would have them, but he can explain them when it's his turn to present. It just kind of shows the layout of everything in the yard, and it says the hot tub is 4 feet from the property line. The pergola is 2.5 feet from the fence. The tool shed is 3 feet from the fence, and the outdoor kitchen, I think, is just adjacent. It's just right up against the fence. So if you choose to grant this variance, he would still need to get a zoning permit from us for the 10 by 24 structure. The other two structures don't require a permit from us, and then a building permit from Lincoln County for the 10 by 24 foot structure. There's a note in here that talks about square footage. It's because the way we figure accessory structures, you're allowed a certain percentage of your rear yard, 30%. And so the math comes out that he's not in excess of what he's allowed. He's actually allowed 592.5 square feet. And if you add the total square feet of these three structures, it's 440 feet. And then the UDO requirements, that just states, it's just straight out of the UDO stating he's supposed to be 10 feet off the side and 10 feet off the rear. For the findings of fact, the answers are in your packets, and you'll have had time to look at them. These are his answers straight from his application. We have a new snippet tool that you can cut it and paste it right in. It's a lot, so I'm not going to read through it all. If y'all have time to read it.
Yes.
Okay, do you have any questions for me?
I mean, he's back. I mean, we just went through this, like, is there not like I guess, am I thinking more planning board, like where it's like you have to wait a year unless there's like significant change in the site plan? I mean, how does it go for Board of Adjustments? Like, how do we?
Well, he missed his appeal date. He chose not to appeal it. He asked for a different request. Initially, he'd asked for 0 feet. Now he's asking for 5 feet. And I think at the end of the last meeting, that was a suggestion that somebody on the board had made to him. I mean, I guess we could let John decide if that's significant enough for it to be a change.
I was just wondering, and I mean, because I know that's how I know it's how done on the planning board. It's like you have to wait
Zonings,
1 year,
Additional zonings.
right?
But it is a different, I think for the variance, I think it just says a different request. We could pull that up if you needed.
Okay, no, I'm just asking for it because I mean, if someone didn't like how we ruled on something, could they just continuously make like small adjustments and tie up your time and our time on the board as to know what that process was? That's the reason I was asking.
Any other questions for Gene?
The last time we talked about this, there was the issue that the house itself was grandparented in and is.
It was built prior to zoning, the house.
And how close is it to the line?
It's a guesstimate. Like I said, the GIS and anywhere from 4 to 6 feet probably. But you can see here, like from this aerial, it's pretty close. The yellow line would be the property line or an approximation of the property line. And this is his home. He didn't build his house. It was built a long time ago.
Yeah.
Right, but he brought in all the other accessory structures after the fact, didn't go through the variance prior to this, and is now asking for forgiveness instead of going through it from the very beginning. Because how long have they been there?
The accessory structures?
Right.
We brought the hot tub when we brought the house, so had the hot tub delivered and put the pergola right over it. And then, within a day or two, the tool shed arrived. The company that placed it for us said we didn't, since it's 10 by 10, we didn't need any kind of permits. We didn't know the setback. So it was a logical place to put the tool shed. So in between the tool shed and the pergola, it's roughly 8 foot. Nothing grows there, nothing. I already had my barbecue pit there, and so I built a cook shed. So I got my crawfish cooker under it, my massive barbecue pit, and just
How long has it been there?
over a year now.
So 22. That's when they bought it. So for the pergola and the hot tub, maybe once again, it's the.
Okay. So the essence of the request is basically to line up the accessory buildings with the edge of the house?
Correct. So We just had the civil engineer come in because it's also in there that we have to put a bottom on that house. But the house built 1913, 1914. And when they did the AC install, they cut the joists in the beams for the AC unit. So if you roll a ball in my house, it just does this. It's crazy. So in order to, I'm going to lose my backyard. Wife's going to lose her garden. We're going to lose our front yard. We're probably going to end up losing one more tree because they're going to have to dig all that out and go in with fresh beams. Plus, we're going to put a basement underneath the house, for storage. We're already digging it up. Let's go ahead and do that. So, I'm looking, somewhere between $120,000 and $175,000 just to do that. Plus, to come in and redo the AC units and do stuff like that, reposition stuff in the house so it flows a little bit better. I got one AC unit over here. You can't sit outside without it, running, so you can't talk. Other ones on the other side of the house, where it's hard to get to maintain. So we're going to, revisit that and move these to a particular part of the house, and make it better. We did get the fence put up. We went center row bed, 20 feet and 2 inches. So we were in compliance with the board, and we had to take the other 2 inches due to the pipeline is actually running in the yard for Duke, in my yard, on the curb. I found that out because the guy was actually there checking meters that day, and GSA also reflects that. So I had to push the fence back so my fence went on top of the pipeline. So I lose yard that way. I lose yard to this 10-foot setback on the side of the house that, we're paying taxes on I don't get to use. So I'm looking for some kind of compromise where we can still work on the house. Nothing's, we want to keep everything nice. So we've already started, guys are coming in this Friday to detach the cook shed, and we are going to be spinning it 90 degrees due to the trenching that's going to have to be done. If I just move it 10 forward like we were talking about, it's in the way. Everything's in the way. But the tool shed, that's not a problem. It's got those timbers on the bottom of it so we can slide it around. So the guy said that's not a problem. We can move that around as much as we need. The pergola, that's not attached to nothing, and it just sits over the hot tub. I can pick it up and move it by hand. We're going to move the hot tub over another 2 feet, and we're going to move the pergola over here. If we can't get 5 foot from the fence with the pergola, we're just going to put it in the middle of the yard, let vines grow on it, and put a picnic table on it.
Okay.
Thanks, sir.
And your house to the fence is 5 foot.
Well, we're going off GSA, and I'm going off. If you come to look at the property line, it's not straight.
Right.
So, kind of goes this way. You like to say it.
Right.
That's why the hot tub is 2 feet. Nothing's square. So we try to square it off the house so it looks nice.
Have you put a tape to that, like the corner of the house there to your fence?
Yeah, I ran tape from the corner of the house. Of course, it's hard, to figure it out. And like she said, it's somewhere between 4 foot, 5 foot. I'm getting different readings. And then when I come to the backyard and take it off the house and run to the fence, I'm gaining footage. And as it goes along, it's getting further and further and further. So even when the fence was installed, the original fence, which wasn't in the code, it was not within the 20 feet. And when I was told that I had to put it 20 feet from the roadbed, okay, and I noticed ain't no one else doing that. But with all the situation that's been going on, I went that extra 2 inches plus the pipelines in my yard.
Sir, okay. Any other questions for Mr. Troll?
Not for me, thank you.
If I don't get the 5 feet, hey, I'm still going to do the 10 feet. I'm just going to spin it 180. It's going to be attached to foots on the ground. So when we do got a trench or something, I just have to slide it over, and we're just going to have to deal with it.
Thank you, sir. So we'll close the public portion of the hearing, and was there any other people signed up to speak on that?
I don't believe for this, no.
Okay, thank you. So we'll close the public portion of the meeting. Is there any discussion needed here within the board? Any clarity that you need on any of this?
I'm good, thank you.
Yep.
So we will take a motion on each finding of fact. So finding of fact number 1, unnecessary hardship would result from the strict application of the ordinance. It shall not be necessary to demonstrate that in the absence of a variance, no reasonable use can be made of the property. So I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Actually, so this is where you were talking about earlier. Do we do a motion to vote on each of these individually?
So what, yes, he's gonna say a motion to approve. Someone makes that motion, and even if you would like to vote against it, you can still make that motion and then just say no. And
Gotcha. Just
You
want to
can
make
vote
sure.
against your own motion.
Motion, right, yeah. So, sorry.
So do I have a motion to
Approve number
approve?
1.
John has made a motion to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
So
for one.
4-1. Findings of fact number 2, hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Hardships resulting from personal circumstances, as well as hardships resulting from conditions that are common to the neighborhood or the general public, may not be the basis of granting a variance. I will entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
We have a motion for approval. Those in favor say aye.
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 Nope.
4-1. Findings of fact number 3, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. The act of purchasing property with knowledge that circumstances exist that may justify the granting of a variance shall not be regarded as a self-creating hardship. I will entertain a motion for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
You got I'm sorry, I hear a motion to
I
approve.
thought you made it, I'm sorry. I make a motion to approve number 3.
John has made a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 Nope.
No. So we have a 3-2. Findings of fact number 4. The requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance such that the public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. I will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion to approve.
Kristen's made a motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
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 No.
4-1. So we, do we need 4 on each of those for it to pass?
So it was, well, now you'll do the final motion, and it can, I think it can go either way at that point. You just have to have at least one fail to be able to pass or fail.
So final motion, I will entertain a motion for final approval.
I move to make final approval.
Approve, motion to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So 4-1 again. 4-1, Ashley. So the motion is carried.
Yep, still, it passed.
All right. I don't think we have any other hearings. I will hear a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir. We'll let our 2 other members make their way on up.
Monty, thank you for doing the numbers too. That was helpful. That helps us too, because
Oh.
we're trying to.
Yeah, I figured I needed to start keeping track of it.
So we're clear, the variance was granted, right?
The variance was granted.
You just can't deny it if you passed all of those findings, if everybody was favorable and those all passed, then you could not deny it. But if you have one that doesn't pass, then you have a basis for denial.
Got it.
Basically, my no at the very end made 0 difference because we'd already passed all the other ones, at that point in time. I can still do it, but like, we couldn't as a board at that point in time vote against, like, since we already found, since y'all found the findings of fact to be true,
Right.
then we wouldn't be able to go, against it at that
We
point in
did.
time.
We did, as a board.
Yeah, we did. All right. All right, y'all ready? All right, I'm gonna go and call the planning board meeting to order for today, October 21st, 2025. I'll ask the board to direct their attention to the minutes of the previous meeting and entertain a motion to approve.
A motion to approve.
Motion to approve. All in favor? Aye. Also, sorry, please let the record show that we have all 7 members here today.
You guys have
That's
to
my
be
fault.
teachers, don't you? Yeah, thank you.
Feels great.
The devil.
It feels great. What are you talking about?
Might be what they're working on. I don't know.
That's a crazy. Yeah.
I was looking at Chris like, what is happening?
No. Well, it's funny when like Gene went back here and closed the door, and I was like, I don't think closing the door is gonna make a difference at this point. I was like, it's vibrating my chair.
My voice starts shivering. It's just me being cold. I ain't nervous.
Nothing really wrong with you, right?
Okay, sorry about that.
No worries. All right, I'm gonna open up the public hearing. We're gonna call the first case of the day, which is CZ-5-2025. Application from Shauna Moore requesting a conditional district rezoning from general business district to planned business conditional district for the purpose of operating a tattoo studio in an existing building. The subject property is 1.096 acres in size and located at 1271 Rocky Hill Lane. Gene, it is yours, Muff.
Okay, so this is just an aerial of the zoning showing where the property is located. And if you're familiar with, if you go down South Aspen Street where it crosses over 150's here and it changes to Old Gastonia, it's right here. So it's currently zoned general business, and she's proposing to do a conditional zoning to planned business. The site information, I think you covered most of that as far as the acres and the address, but the surrounding properties comprise a mix of commercial, residential, and medical uses. The zoning districts in the immediate area are general business, office institutional, R25, R8, and residential multifamily. The previous uses for this building were a real estate office, an auction, and an employment agency, and currently the building is vacant, and like you said, the applicant is requesting to open a tattoo studio. I do just want to show you, I just did this visual just to show you where it is. It's on the very edge of the city limits, almost to the ETJ. So this lime color, those are city limits, and purple is ETJ. And the front desk is calling us. We're going to ignore that. Here's an aerial so you can see it a little bit better. Just kind of set back here. This is a visual from the road. It's the white building here. And I'm just going to get closer so you can see it better. It's a commercial building with 9 total offices, a reception area, conference room, kitchen, 2 bathrooms. The building is along the exit ramp and that connects the business route 321 north to 150 bypass. And that's just a closer up visual. So currently, this property is already in the general business planning area for the land use plan. These are areas that contain heavy commercial uses. And so there's nothing in her proposal that would go against the goals and objectives for the general business planning area. So staff does not feel like it would be necessary to amend the land use plan. We've got our proposed consistency and reasonable statements that we love to do. So we've got one for approval and one for denial. For approval, our land use plan states that we should work with landlords of vacant and underutilized commercial buildings to develop strategies for adaptive reuse, and that we should continue to encourage reuse of existing commercial zone properties rather than the development of greenfields, which is just vacant land. It's reasonable in that the rezoning of this vacant building follows the strategies from the strategies from the land use plan for adaptive reuse and to reduce commercial sprawl along our thoroughfares. It is consistent with the land use plan, so it's really hard to come up with strategies out of the land use plan when it's consistent. So if you chose to deny it, it would just be based on the fact that you don't feel like it's desirable for the area. So staff, I'm giving you 2 paths for either approval or denial, but if you just say based on staff recommendation, you don't have to make multiple motions, it'll just wrap it up into one motion. So we do, you can approve the rezoning of the property from general business to planned business commercial district, and then you would approve, the motion would also approve the statement of consistency and reasonableness for approval, or if you chose to deny, the same thing. And that's just your cheat sheet. Do you have any questions for me?
They previously had a tattoo parlor, correct? It was in central business?
Yep.
And it was on.
Well, no, it was in planned business.
Planned business, but it was like right across from McDonald's, right? that's where it was?
And I know Shauna Moore is here, and I know she's got a presentation she would like to do. So I can answer questions now. We can let her do her presentation, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, no, that was I just want to make sure I was.
Yeah, she did.
I was right.
She
in-
actually was successfully
Right.
did a text amendment to add tattoo studios as a permitted use in the planned business area.
Gotcha.
And this property happens to be in the general business area.
Right.
Is there residential that's close by?
There is some here. We'll go back and look.
You know what the crazy thing is? I live right there. I've never noticed that like
I didn't know the building was back there.
that building was even back there. I've seen all the other stuff in front of it, but until this came up, I was like, I had no idea that white building was even back there.
So if you look on the map that's on your screen right now,
Okay.
all the aqua color is residential. I think that's R8. The darker blue is R8, but this green, that's all commercial. Any color over there that's green is commercial. And then the lavender here, that's office institutional, so that's both. You can have residential or you can have commercial. So that intersection is truly a mix of commercial and residential. Heavy along the thoroughfare, it's heavy on the commercial. Because you can see the line here, and then here is commercial, here is commercial. The darker blue is residential multifamily, so that would be like apartment complexes or duplexes or things of that nature.
So the residential that's closest by would be single family.
Yes.
Thank you.
We can ask John. I think John had something to say. Lee was asking about recusing himself from voting.
Yeah, if you got enough votes, I would out of abundance of caution. If not, then I would state what the potential conflict is, and then, quick discussion and make a decision.
Planning board's just a majority vote, so it's easy for him to, yeah.
If it, the
Go
easiest
ahead
thing
and do
is just recuse yourself and no vote.
Okay.
But you have to recuse yourself, you can't just be a no vote.
Yeah. Does he need to state the reason why he's recusing himself so it's on the record?
Potential conflict.
He didn't have to list out what the conflict is or anything. Okay.
You talked to the applicant.
Yes, she was interested in another building, and I just told her about this building and said you could ask Jean zoning questions. And that's basically it. But
Are you representing her or anything? Okay. So you don't have any financial.
And it's not even your realty company that's
So you really
representing,
coming. So
It's iffy at best,
right.
but
Out
since
of
we
caution.
have plenty for the vote, it just makes sense for him to recuse himself and not worry about it.
Okay. So do we do that? You want to do that too when we get down to the voting or does he go and do it now?
He can do it now, but
Okay.
yeah.
just say I recused myself.
I feel like it too.
Okay.
Didn't know if there's a certain procedure because we really don't see that too often. So it's like, all right, when do you recuse yourself and like when do you not? And I mean, if it was
For the battle.
if it was a discussion on the board, I'd be like, you don't really need to because you don't have any financial gain out of it, right?
Yeah.
So, but no, if you're going to recuse yourself, all right, then you will not be voting when it comes time to that point. All right. Any other questions for Gene at this point in time from anybody up here? If not, I will. Oh, we have who else signed up? Is it just Shauna or?
Shauna, and then Will is signed up as well, but I think she may want to go ahead and do her presentation.
Yeah. She's the
Yeah.
applicant.
All right, we'll have the applicant come up.
I'm gonna stay in case you,
Please.
you should just roll through it. Like, just roll down. and go to
Technology
the-
does not like me. Now, I made little pamphlets because I'm kind of old school and I like having something. So I've got a few, and they are presented to the city council. So just ignore the front page because it doesn't have y'all's name on it. It has their
We're
name.
not special enough. I
But
see it. Yeah.
if I would have known, it's just something to kind of look and flip through. Good one. Got another one. There you go. All right. Let's see, and obviously, before I begin, each one of you have the binder. I definitely encourage you to flip through it and kind of look through everything that I'm talking about. The first few pages show current photos of the building that we are purchasing, along with our vision renderings and what we plan for it to become once we make it our permanent home. As you reach the final pages on I think it's the last two, you'll see something very special. It's the original photo that I submitted to the council of what Ink and Iris was supposed to look like and showing that I followed through with that look. Let's see. Do I just click?
You just roll down. You just-
Oh, okay.
I know that on my end.
All right, so this is me and my husband Kyle. We're the husband and wife duo behind S'more Inc., a studio built on passion, art, and community. What started as a dream in 2015 has grown into one of the most respected tattoo and piercing studios in our area, which is Gaston County. Our mission has always been simple: create meaningful art while giving back to a place that we call home. And this is the building that you guys seen, but our proposed look of what we would like to do as far as the signage on the building and then outside of the building. This is our plans for the interior. You guys have the picture of what the interior looks like right now, and this is our renderings of what we would like it to look like. And this is what I was talking about earlier, keeping our promise. The bottom left photo is what I submitted to the council, and then the far right photo is what we actually ended up creating. And that was across from McDonald's in Lincolnton. And I know you mentioned it earlier that I was there. I'll go over a little bit more why I am no longer there. These are our community efforts. We do lots and lots of community-driven efforts for, this one specifically was an art drive that I did in COVID, during COVID, where I raised money to provide art supplies to the kids because everyone was at home doing school, and one of the things that I kept hearing complaints about were parents not being able to afford art supplies. So we raised around $3,500 to give out art supplies. That's another picture and a happy kid. I also started a creative care initiative where we donated birdhouses built by my grandfather to seniors, and our first stop was the Bryan Center right here in Lincolnton, which is actually down the street from the building that we're looking to purchase. This is another inspiration where we named it Coloring for Hope. So after Helene, we had a lot of people reaching out needing art supplies for some of the schools. So we raised right around $600, I believe, to donate to a school that was affected by Helene. We do an annual toy drive every single year where we raise money and give toys to the children in the community. I'm really passionate about sports. I was on the board for the West Lincoln Optimist Club, and me and my husband helped raise money for the Little Sweeties to go to the All-Stars. We're not your typical tattoo studio. S'more Inc. was built on professionalism, safety, and heart. We go beyond tattoos. We give back, host community drives, and create a welcoming space for everyone. Our focus is on top-tier artistry, strict safety standards, and making a positive impact in every way that we can. It's not just a tattoo. Why this zoning change matters: it would allow our tattoo studio to legally operate within the district while maintaining full compliance with the city standards, brings an established community-focused business to a currently underused property, supports local economic growth through job creation, tourism, and charitable outreach, and that strengthens Lincolnton's reputation as a modern, inclusive city that welcomes a small business success. And if you guys I have a big, long speech, and I'm going to save it unless you want me to go for it. But if you have any questions, I definitely wouldn't mind answering some.
Any questions for anybody on the board?
You said that you were a different type of tattoo.
So
What makes you different?
art, like as far as we're not just your average tattoo studio, meaning we go a little bit above and beyond. So I grew up in Lincoln County, and helping the community, especially, we have a great stance on social media. We have a really good following, and I firmly believe that with that following, we should do good with it. I'm a big karma person, so I feel like the better good that we put out, the more good that's going to come back to us. Okay. So we take a step above. We're not just about the art. We want to help our community that helps us maintain our business. Specifically children, that's where my heart's at. But it goes across the board, and I would really like to get involved with Lincolnton opportunities as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You aren't moving your main studio.
This will be like a second location.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The prime location,
Yeah.
This will be, yeah.
Like I said, I didn't know that building existed, and I didn't realize that was that big.
Yeah, no,
So-
it's big. It is big, and it's kind of perfect. And that's what I was saying before. We chose it very intentionally. The size, where it's at, in relation to traffic, a lot of traffic goes by there, even though honestly, we don't need the traffic. We have a really good following, a really good reputation, and we book a lot off of social media, Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that, word of mouth. So I feel like we could be put kind of in a corner and operate 100% fully, but I would like to be right there where I can make the building look incredible. And maybe, you know, that area over there is so untapped. I feel like, not that it's forgotten about, but I know once I put my landscaping on it and I make it look really, really nice, it's going to help that area out a lot.
Now, is it only tattooing, or are y'all doing permanent makeup as
So
well?
I specialize in permanent makeup. My husband Kyle does tattoos, and I also will be offering piercings as well, which is not something I had at Ink and Iris. I didn't have the piercings, but permanent makeup and tattoos.
I can't believe, I mean, 'cause I do follow you. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I'll say that, but like the amount of like people who bring their daughters who are like 5 and, you know,
So-
below, that they come, like, I mean, like, like this to get ears pierced. Like, I always, when somebody asks, they always say y'all, so.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's a great compliment, but like I said, we strive really, really hard to change that negative tone that, you know, when you say, oh, a tattoo artist, you know, sometimes it's like, you know, my goal was to change that. I want it to be like uplifting, like, oh, you're an artist. You know, I don't want to be looked at as you're a tattoo, parlor. I'm not a tattoo parlor. We're artists, and that's what we focus on. And I even had a little quote. He's not here, so I'm going to save, you know, that big speech for him. But Kevin Dimney, did I say that right? One of his comments that he made on his platform, Instagram, said, art is too important not to share. And I think with Lincolnton being such a heavy art community anyways, someone can find appreciation in it. Even if it's not something that you want, your children, grandchildren, you know, friends, family, wouldn't you want them to have a safe, respectable place to go to that's in their hometown? You know, they don't have to travel outside of it.
Right.
And you guys get to regulate me. Tell me what I'm doing right. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. You can't do that in other counties. So, and I know we're the best. So you get to cherry pick and get the best here.
All right. Anything else? Good. All right. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That's it. Will was signed up.
Oh.
What?
Can I share a video? So while I was here, even though it was for a year, and I want to talk a little bit about why I'm no longer in that location. So initially I was promised parking. I don't know if you're familiar with, I think it's a ammo place now. There's like 3 parking spots and that's it. When I initially got the building, I was promised extra parking spaces behind it. And no bad blood with them, but it didn't happen. So me and my staff, which were primarily women, were having to park at FATS at that time and walk. So it became a safety hazard, and there was a couple issues that kind of arose, and we had to make the awful decision to kind of pull out, because at that time there were no other suitable options. And it just so happened that the studio in Dallas gave us an additional 2,500 square foot, so I relocated out of safety and just out of not having another option. This building we are purchasing, and our closing date is October 30th. So we are all hands in on this. No pressure.
Yeah.
But I do have a video, and that year that I was here, PBS Charlotte actually came out and did a documentary about me and my services, and it was filmed in Lincolnton. So I would like to share that with y'all.
And determination. The driving forces behind Ink and Iris, the first ever tattoo shop in Lincolnton. It wasn't easy opening the doors, but the owner, like her clientele, doesn't let obstacles stop her. Carolina Impact's Sarah Colon Harris introduces us to tattoo artists using her skills to permanently restore confidence and hope to cancer patients.
Tattoos have long been a form of self-expression. For some, it's permanent artwork to feed the soul. And here in the small town of Lincolnton, North Carolina, Shauna Moore and her husband are determined to make history with their tattoo shop, Ink and Iris.
There's so much more to it. It's not just a tattoo, and that's like my whole philosophy.
Not just a tattoo, but a tool to restore hope and confidence in cancer patients and others struggling with hair loss. But before she could transform lives, Shauna had to prove her point that her work is more than just a tattoo. So this hometown girl with a passion for progress took her case to city council and challenged the city's ban on tattoo shops.
It wasn't zoned, and I said, well, how can I change that?
Now, 1 year later, her shop is the first of its kind in town. Appointments booked out for months.
It was really special to kind of see like all my hard work pay off in such a positive light for the industry, not just for me, but just for the tattoo industry as a whole. You know, we kind of get bad rap sometimes, and it was just nice to see like how quick it changed just in my town.
As a cosmetic tattoo artist, Shauna prides herself on transforming the outer appearance to build self-esteem, particularly in clients suffering from hair loss.
A lot of women who have had, breast cancer, a lot with the chemo treatments and the loss of hair. I've done alopecia patients. Men, a lot of people think it's makeup, it's just for women. But for men, same thing, they experience alopecia and cancer and hair loss. Now, do you want to look super surprised all the time?
No, not really.
No?
Today, Terry Morton is treating herself to a new pair of eyebrows.
I'm a cancer survivor and went through 6 months of chemo, and hair grew back, eyebrows didn't grow back.
Her daughter Jacqueline, here for moral support, still gets emotional thinking about her mother's stage 4 lung cancer diagnosis.
And she was just like, it was no big deal, like, we're gonna beat this, it's gonna be just fine. And I'm like, whew, like my mom, I've got to be there for her. I was very emotional. I remember explicitly her surgeon told myself, my dad, and my mom to me, you may want to think about your wedding plans. You would want your mom to be there. And she was like, don't worry, we're still going to have a wedding. I don't care if it's in a hospital room, we will have a wedding. And we did. We had a beautiful wedding. My mom was there. So we are just blessed that she is here and blessed that she is getting her eyebrow services today.
The average cost for permanent makeup here at Ink & Iris is about $350. And even though this location has only been open for about a month, business has already skyrocketed.
So you'll see me kind of place them, put them on, place them until they're perfect.
Terry's expectations today are simple.
I'm expecting not to have to draw them on because I do a horrible job at that. And I guess it's for vanity purposes, but I figure after all I've been through, I deserve this.
And then one more.
And it wouldn't be a transformation without a before picture. With that out of the way, Shauna gets to work by mapping out Terry's face to determine the look of her brows. Then it's on to tracing the outline and finally the actual tattooing using a mix of colors to match Terry's skin tone and natural hair color. The anticipation is mounting, and I couldn't help but ask.
Do you ever get afraid that you might make a mistake?
I do, but it's quickly gone because this is my job, and I got a job to do, and these women are counting on me.
Finally, her moment is here. It's time for the big reveal.
Boom, boom, boom.
Oh my gosh.
The result, permanent eyebrows and a newfound confidence.
I have eyebrows.
You do, and you can move
them.
Yeah.
They move.
It's the before and after that makes Shauna's historic battle to open the shop all worth it.
The fact that I can give her that little smidge of extra confidence that she once had, my job's done, that's huge for me.
An opportunity to use art to heal.
I hear their stories, I appreciate their stories, I'm sympathetic to everything they're telling me, and I'm just like, biggest thing is I'm grateful that I get to share these little moments with all these different people. It's great, it's a whole experience, so not just a tattoo.
Transformation with a little ink and a little heart. For Carolina Impact, I'm Sarah Colon-Harris.
Thanks so much, Sarah. It's great to see how those new eyebrows give women confidence. This is Shauna Moore's second tattoo parlor. She also operates small.
It kept doing it. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, if not, I'll.
Yep.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right.
Yes. Did you want to speak on
Yeah, just real
today's?
quick. Won't take up too much of you guys' time. I'm Will Petit, president and owner of Remax Crossroads here in town. I had the pleasure of helping the Moores with their real estate matters over the last year or so. and she's already hit all the high points on this one. The difference between this property and the property she was previously at is she intends to be the owner of this property, where she can control what happens with the property. And if changes need to be made, she can do so. She doesn't have to ask for approval. Whereas at the other one, she was a tenant. And so, with that being said, Shauna and Kyle, they're stewards of the community. I own multiple businesses, but West Lincoln community where I live, you know, when she mentioned Optimus Park, I mean, she does a lot for Optimus Park and fundraisers and stuff in Dallas. And when Helene hit, she was the first one to call me when my office was taking up donations. I personally delivered them to Burnsville up in the mountains. So I think she would be a great resource for our town here, and we'd be excited to have her. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well. But she already hit all the high points and kind of took all my notes I was going to say anyway. So that's just a testament to who she is. So
Thanks, sir. Any questions? Nope. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else signed up? Is that it?
That's it.
All right. There's nobody else that'd like to speak. We're gonna go to board discussion only at this point in time. Anything from anybody at this point? Questions, concerns, comments? All right, then I'll close the public hearing for this case, and I'll entertain a motion for either approval or denial.
I'll make a motion to approve as recommended by staff.
We have recommendation. Bonnie has made the motion for approval based upon staff recommendations. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, got a second. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you so very much. Congratulations. Welcome back. All right, we'll move on to our last case of the day, which is CZ-6-2025. Application from Jared Webb requesting conditional district rezoning from central business district to residential office conditional district for the purpose of uplifting an existing building for a church and church offices. The subject property is 0.1 acres in size and located at 125 West Water Street. Gene, it is yours, ma'am.
Thank you, Trent. So this, I think y'all have seen this a couple times before, and we'll go over the background. Currently, this is central business. The proposed rezoning would be residential office conditional district. In 1922, well, prior to 1922, this was central business, and in 1922, the building was rezoned to residential office to accommodate a residential project that didn't quite meet the zoning standards for central business. That project did not happen, and so the building was sold in 2024. That property owner rezoned it back to central business for a project that he wanted to do that did not happen. He wanted a wider variety of uses. And so the building is currently for sale. The applicant is under contract to purchase this building and is requesting a rezoning back to residential office conditional district for the purpose of opening a church. And this is the former Lincoln Times building, and it's been vacant since about 2021. This is just an aerial showing you where it is in relation to the courthouse, the city parking lot. The visual of the building, it's 4,200 square feet. It was built in 1918. Conditions of approval for this would just be that they need to coordinate with water and sewer and with the city utilities department, meet all building and fire code standards, because the interior is a shell. Windows and doors, if they choose to put in, the windows were previously bricked up and a doorway was bricked up. If they choose to put any of that back, one of the conditions that we would ask is that they meet the central business design code standards for downtown buildings, because even though it would have a different zoning district, we would want it to meet those same design standards as the other buildings. Accessory uses are governed by other provisions of the underlying district and are forbidden if they are not permitted, despite their association with religious uses. They would need to obtain all necessary permits, including a zoning permit from the city of Lincolnton, a change of tenant or occupancy permit from the county, and any necessary building up permits for the upfit. So this is in the central business districts in the planning area for the land use plan. Future land uses are encouraged to accentuate and enhance the unique environment of downtown atmosphere and ambiance. Residential is recommended in the area. There's some language about new commercial, but that doesn't apply here. Land use policies and practices should also be devised to promote pedestrian accessibility while effectively and safely directing traffic around Lincoln County Courthouse Square. So none of the church would not go against any of the goals and objectives of the central business planning area, so we don't feel that we would need to amend the land use map, even if you approve the rezoning. The statement for approval, the statement of consistency and reasonableness for approval, it follows the land use plan because it encourages quality infill development. You want to build so that it looks like it fits in, you want to attract people-oriented uses in your downtown area. A key factor in maintaining the strength and vitality of the downtown Lincolnton area is to make it more active and functional during non-peak hours. So at times other than weekdays from 8 to 5. So the church would be reasonable because it's taking a vacant building and it would meet those above goals that are pulled from the land use plan. Again, it is consistent with the land use plan, so if you choose to deny it, it could be based on that it's a desirable location for commercial use and that a church would not be desirable in that area. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Gene?
When you talk about the infill and the look of it, what would that be a condition of approval?
It is a condition of approval. And it's just because, see on the side of the building?
Right.
That's a very dark building. There's one door in. So, and that you can kind of see here and here, there was some windows and doors. And from the interior of the building, you can see it a little bit better, that were filled in with brick. So if they would chose to open up any of those windows, we would just ask that they follow the design standards that are set forth in the Central Business District.
So as it stands right now and how it looks right now is okay if we approve this. Can we put a condition that be improved?
The look of the building, I think they've actually, in their presentation, have some pictures of what it might look like if it were approved.
Okay.
So they have a presentation as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
My question is, all right, so it's central business. It's not, it doesn't meet it right now, but we have other churches, I guess they're grandfathered in.
They're grandfathered in. They used to be permitted in central business, or they were a conditional use permit.
Okay.
And we don't do the special use permits. They were taken out of downtown area. And I think part of the thought behind that was they wanted more we had so many churches downtown, they wanted more commercial. But this building's been sitting vacant for 4 years.
Right, but I mean, for what central business is, it's supposed to be business, and to your point, we do have a good amount of churches already downtown, and so it kind of gets away from that. So that's the reason why they're here, is asking for this. So, so when did council make that change for central business to take out churches from being? Or were they all just grandfathered in, or was it like an actual change?
They weren't grandfathered in. They were actually, I can't remember if it was an actual permitted use or a special use permit. Do you remember?
I know that in the most recent one that I looked at before 160D changed a lot. It was a conditional use.
Right. And so it would have had to come to council anyway to be a church at that time. We'd have to go back and research it, and I didn't think to do that.
No, I mean, it's me and my random thoughts as I sit up here. And
they're good thoughts.
Right,
good
well,
thoughts.
because, I mean, it's like, wait a second, they're coming in here, while we already have churches there, why isn't this going to be permitted use? And it's like, okay, I understand now why. So at that point in time, say, because this goes before council put it there as conditional use, because we are at that point in time, like, we had too many churches downtown. It was taken away from our central business, what the purpose of central business is.
Yeah, banks were also included. There were some other things where there are several of them in the downtown area that at some point became a special use, I guess, to kind of control that a little bit more.
Okay. So that's where we're at. All right. Yeah, well, no, I mean, because when you look at, we talk about growth and like we talk about what our central business is and what we want to see, take place for commerce. I mean, this kind of gets away from that.
Agreed. It's also a balance, though. How long is this building going to sit vacant? Is the current owner going to take care of it and make sure that it's, like, is the roof going to be maintained while it's sitting vacant? Maybe, maybe not.
Right. I mean, that's something for us not to worry about. We come down to, like, what the district is and, like, what has been put forth by council and saying, hey, churches aren't part of this, and I know that's the reason why they're here. And it's now for us to make that decision. Do we want to bring this back in? Then it goes to council, then they make another decision at that point.
Right. Gene, at one time, there were regulations
about the distance,
regulating what types of businesses could be within so many feet of a church. Does any of that apply
the
anymore?
state still, I think, has something as far as bars and maybe 50 feet. I honestly don't know who regulates that. I think it's in the state's guidelines.
Where they
and
get
maybe
alcohol
when you get an
permit.
ABC, when you get your ABC permits, and maybe they look at that when you're getting your permit. It's not something that we regulate. We will point it out if it needs to be pointed out. I kind of looked at that on this one, and even if you went to, let's go back to the. When you look at this downtown, because I think I looked at it, just if this were to be purchased, and let's just pretend it were to be made into a bar, there's a church here. But even if you did the back corner of the property line, and typically those measurements are door to door, it's 83 feet from a church. And there's no bars. So around here, there's parking this way, so that covers the 50 feet. There's the Citizen Center here. That's always going to be the Citizen Center. I don't see that getting changed. I don't see the county giving up their parking to open up to allow bar to go there. This is not city property yet, but it's the old probation office. The city's taken over this building in 26 or 27 maybe. So that's government. So I don't think those restrictions would come into play too much unless this is Manuel Lutheran.
But would it though, in the sense that there are some events that the Cultural Center has where they sell
I don't think that the wording in the permit application talks about events that sell alcohol. I think it talks about 50 feet from a
Drinking
church.
establishments, yeah.
Like
right,
bars
but I
being-
mean, that's, I want to verify that because because that's one of those things like where I don't want to hurt the Cultural Center, and like the
So that's
Citizen Center
something
for
that you could
events.
direct us to do, is to look into that prior to city council and that to be in our report, like what that wording is and would it
Okay.
affect events.
Yes, I mean, if that could be done, I'd
I
be.
guess the question I was getting to is, if this becomes a church, would it affect neighboring properties?
I think it. I mean, well, because as the city has put out there for like what we want the entertainment district to be. And one of the things that came from the steering committee was Water Street becoming that, because to what Gene's talking about, where the probation office is right now, I think that could be possibly it's going to become city offices, and then there's a land swap that happened between the city and the county. That's public record. I'm not speaking out of turn about John by saying this. Okay, I just want to make sure, but because if you go over on the other side of South High Street, left-hand side there, that's going, that could be possibly, it's going to be another park.
So let's look at the first vacant parcel just for fun. We're
But
just going to go to the very corner
But
of the
for it
first.
to be the entertainment district,
Right.
and that's where stuff's going to happen on Water Street. You take out, one of the very few buildings that are actually available on Water Street to, and does that fit what we see for central business?
So I don't know. Is that?
Right. Sorry, I thought Gene was looking, sorry, I quit talking because I thought Gene was about to say, that's my fault, sorry.
Checking the distance to the vacant
Gotcha.
property, it's 271 feet. I was just.
I mean,
curious.
there's already a church next door to it, so
Right.
it's probably
Yeah.
a moot point.
But it's the thought process is, we're looking at central business and, where do we, do we look at central business as an economic, I guess, place for our downtown? Or, is a church, does it fit into that?
And it kind of depends on the church community, how involved they're in with the larger community.
Right, I
And
mean,
they
because.
bringing people down at different hours.
Yeah.
Being engaged with.
Yeah, because you don't want to see it there just only open on Sundays and Wednesdays, right? I mean, it looks like another vacant building at that point, even though you might have signage on it that says whatever church, but
There's
you
a
know,
general.
it's not driving any business. It's not driving foot traffic, to anybody at that point in time outside the people who are going to that church.
I think it depends on the church community, how involved they are in the larger community. Because some churches in our community are very active and have events and people involved in activities downtown a lot. There's some that are not.
Right. Once again, it comes down, if that's what we want for central business, is a church or, like commerce.
Or a vacant building.
Or commerce. I mean, if you put a church in there, it takes away from.
It does change part of that intent.
Right.
But it also can become an integral part of our community.
It can. I mean, either way, it can be. Sorry.
It does look like there is a statute, and I would have to go into it further, but of about 50 feet within a church or a school for ABC commission for sales and proposed locations.
So sales, I mean, because they have to have an ABC permit to sell.
And this would be something that we would look into further before council, because, you know, there's all types of different sales. Is it a bar? Is it a ABC store? Is it a restaurant with more than 50% of it being alcohol sales versus food? And there's a lot that
I
goes
was just
into it.
concerned about it possibly limiting the adjacent properties.
If something were to be developed around it. I get you. And it's possible.
It's possible, I mean, but when we looked, I have to pull it back up, I closed it out. But all the properties around on the back side were already owned by a church, and then it's city and county properties all the way around. So I don't know how many vacant properties. I guess the King Law Firm would be the closest property. Or in the King, what is that on the corner? So it used to be, but now it's maybe a therapy. So, but I mean, both valid points on both sides.
All right. If there's no other questions for Gene, if the applicant would like to come up and speak at this time.
Is it in the social district? You know, that's another.
It is.
You know, if you talk about alcohol, so.
I was trying to get it pulled up.
But I mean, I get back, I mean, for what council's put it out there, they put it
Well,
for
it's
a
good
reason.
it's good that it was brought up and discussed.
Yeah, I mean, 'cause, I mean, that's really the thing. Yeah, I'm glad, if you, I would have never thought about
Privy
it.
to the steering committee
Yeah.
recommendations, really. You know.
Well, that came from like Rich, like, that came from like
They're
a
looking
city
to
thing.
develop Water Street as an entertainment district.
Yeah.
Does a church fit into that?
The law office.
No?
John didn't get my little dig at him.
Today. I'm Jared Webb, and I am currently under contract to purchase this building. Part of purchasing this building is going to be conditional on getting this rezoned for this church congregation, which I want to start with addressing what you said, to be an integral part of the community. And the church will be called 1618 Church, which is, of course, from Matthew 16:18. It talks about Christ, upon this rock I will build my church. And we would love to be an integral part of this community. And one facet of our church is to not just to be a place of gathering, but to be actively involved in our community. We don't want to just be a place that just gathers, but to really bless Lincoln County. We want our church to represent the demographic of Lincolnton, and we want our church to be very involved in our community. I'm also helping to serve on the board of the United Way, and we want our church to be involved in those community organizations as well. So that is one huge aspect of what we want to be about as a church. Also, I'm the president of a construction company, and first off, I'm from Lincolnton. It's very important to me that we present a building to our community that they can be proud of as well. And so, if you look at this property, and we'll kind of go through it, there's our request. This property is over 100 years old, as you guys know. It's been vacant for nearly 5 years. It's been sitting there. And as you know, with anything you own, to sit vacant serves no purpose. It becomes more dilapidated. I've spent a lot of time in this building over the last 2 months, more time than I care. And this building is in bad shape, from top to bottom, from the roof down. And because it's sat vacant for so long, and before that was Lincoln Times News, I'm not sure they took great care of it. My inspectors, my subcontractors, my people have looked at it, and this building needs a lot of work. It has sat vacant, like I mentioned, and so part of being a president of a construction company is I know what it's going to take to get this building up to something that you guys can be proud of, the community can be proud of, and that even meets the building code and fire safety code as well. So we know all that. Previous redevelopment efforts have fallen through. 2022 residential office project never materialized, and the structure right now adds no economic or visual value under its current condition. That's just the fact of the building. And so what I would like to do as a general contractor is to come in and really love on this building and make it something, like I said, we can be proud of. So we will go with complete a code-compliant renovation that meets all building and fire standards. We will match windows, doors, and facades to the Central Business Design Code standards, preserving the historic charm. We will ensure pedestrian safety and accessibility consistent with downtown principles, and I will coordinate directly with city utilities on water and sewage upgrades to obtain all required permits. So we know that we purchased it for a certain amount, but we know that the majority of the money that I'm willing to invest in this building, which will be, for me personally, is going to be in this construction, the construction cost. We know what we need to do to get it done, and we're willing to do that. And so with that, I do want to show you some pictures of what we'd like to do to this building from the outside in. Right now, as you can see, it is sort of dilapidated. By the way, the electrical's been stripped down, the mechanical's been stripped down. I had pictures of the inside of it. It's in bad shape. We are really going to have to do a complete build-up of this space. It's going to cost several $100,000 minimum, and we know that. And so kind of what we did is kind of just drew up something that you guys could see what we want to do to the outside of the building. We want to paint it. We want to put a storefront glass entry. And Gene, this may not match your standard with the central business, but we will match that storefront with what you guys require for the central business district as well. On the inside, this is kind of our vision, what we'd like to see on the inside as well. And just to make it look up to the standard and something we can all be proud of. And so why this zoning makes sense, this building has never hosted a true central business tenant. That's something I want to point out to you guys today as well. It was always in Lincoln Times News. It was recently switched to central business in 2022, I believe. Never had a tenant that fit the central business to sit vacant all those years. It's functionally, it functioned historically as the Lincoln Times News, not retail or restaurant use. And the staff report already states this use would not go against the goals and objectives of the central business planning area. Return to residential office zoning provides flexibility to restore and reuse the building responsibly and a pathway to occupancy in the community without disrupting the downtown plan. Also, I like how you guys mentioned earlier in the staff report, and we put this in our report as well, that this would help central business and the downtown area get foot traffic during non-peak hours. And we're not going to be a church that sits vacant throughout the week. We want to be a church that's, like I said, actively involved in our community. So from my end, as a pastor and as someone that is a president of a construction company, I know what this building needs. And as a pastor, I know what our community needs to fulfill those goals as well. So we love Lincolnton. I went to Lincolnton High School, born and raised here. I moved off to Charleston, South Carolina for 6 years. And then my company moved me back. They said, you have about 3 weeks to move back to the Charlotte area. And I specifically chose to move back to Lincolnton because I love this city. I love this county. I love the people here. And we want to be a blessing to Lincolnton as well. So that's why we believe 1618 makes sense for the county and for the city. And if you'll pass it, we think that we're going to be a big blessing to Lincolnton and something that everybody can be proud of for sure. Again, I just want to make this point to you also. Activates downtown beyond 9 to 5, preserves the historic architecture and local character. The church will be a great neighbor for businesses in the downtown Lincolnton area and encourages quality infill development, okay? And again, there's our pictures, and that's our presentation. Thank you for your time today. You guys have
any questions for the applicant this time?
The denomination?
We're going to call it interdenominational, but non-denominational. We won't accept all. And the reason why is because we want to accept, like I said, we want our church to represent the demographic of Lincolnton. We think this is a problem with some churches and some denominations. We want to represent how our city looks and how our county looks, quite frankly. So we want to be interdenominational.
I'll ask the question. I mean, why downtown? I mean, it's not permitted there. That's why you're in front of us. Like, what made you choose that you wanted to be downtown instead of like in a different location where it's already permitted?
Well, 2 reasons. One, we love the idea of being centrally located in Lincolnton. It kind of represents our heartbeat as a church. Also, this building, let's be honest, has a great opportunity for us. The cost was good for us. I've looked into the renovation costs. This just makes sense for us also. So it represents our goals as a church, but it also makes sense for us financially as well. So,
do you currently operate a church?
I have, but currently no. So I've worked for 5 different churches in my life as a youth pastor, as an associate pastor, and we just think it's time to do church the way that Matthew 16:18 says, to do it the way Christ told us to do it. And we believe this church will fulfill those goals of Matthew 16:18 and to be the hands and the feet of the gospel. So that's what we want to do. And we believe when we looked around the county and the city, we love churches, we love other churches in the city, but we want to do church the way we believe Christ would be proud of and Christ would want us to do as a church as well. So, and we believe the time is now.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant this time?
May I add one more point?
Yeah.
as someone that's buying the church, me personally, the church is not buying the property, I am. They will be my tenant. So worst case scenario, I'm able to flip this building. Let's say the church doesn't work out, right? I mean, God forbid. It will still be a blessing to Lincolnton and something that we could potentially flip one day or make it a much better use for the city also. I want to make that point also.
Thanks, sir.
So you will own it and you will be the pastor?
Our goal is within a year or two to switch the name over, if everything works out, to the church's name.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it. Anyone else signed up to speak at this time?
Will.
All right.
Didn't know I'd be back so soon.
Yeah, welcome back, sir.
It's been about 3 or 4 years since I've had clients need to go to a rezonings, and it just so happened that both of my clients are here today. So, again, I won't take up too much of your time. Appreciate you all hearing these cases. Just to give a little background information on this building itself. Trent, I agree 100% what you say. You know, it doesn't conform with the his use doesn't conform with the central business use that the city is pushing. And me being also a building owner downtown, you know, I'd have to agree, you know, we want something that's going to draw people in. However, with this particular building, it has been vacant for 4+ years. I looked at it myself into opening up a restaurant, and full disclosure, my office has had this building listed for over a year. And we haven't had success in selling it until Mr. Webb came along. The building itself is it's almost to the point where it's too far gone. And the cost to renovate it for a restaurant, a bar, what have you, is cost prohibitive. Most recently, this building was under contract in July for about a week to 2 weeks with Mr. Ben Brooks, who I'm sure you guys are familiar with, who recently purchased the old Brick Tree building. He paid $2 million cash for the Brick Tree building and said that this building was too far gone to open up a restaurant. So if Mr. Brooks cannot afford to open up this, you know, renovate this building into a restaurant, I don't know who's going to be able to. So with that being said, I would make a case that Mr. Webb plan to renovate the building himself, open up a church, is good for our downtown. It's going to draw people in. And again, Trent, to your question about if we allow, or if the city allows this church to open the 50 feet from other alcohol serving establishments. The building directly next to this is also vacant. It's also on the market. It's even in worse shape. So I don't see a restaurant or bar going in that one. And then I think you've got county offices as they spoke around that. So I don't see that portion of Water Street turning into an entertainment spot as the other side where Local Roots and Untapped is. So, you know, I think this is the best case scenario for all involved. And personally, you know, I would like to see it downtown. And I think, you know, Mr. Webb has a lot of great ideas to bring people in other than just on Sundays and Wednesdays. But again, just to say, I agree with what you're saying. I had those concerns when Mr. Webb called me, and you know, I thought that it was already allowed since we already had churches downtown until I called Jean, and she told me that no, those are grandfathers, so that's why we're here today. But I think it's a great use of the building, and it's cost prohibitive really to do anything else. I mean, he's willing to take the chance to put his money into it and see what he runs into. But when you talk about renovating the building plus adding $500,000 worth of kitchen equipment and everything to it, and sprinklers and the whole 9 yards, it's cost prohibitive. So, thank you all.
Has anybody from the manual said anything about any negative things about it being there, being another church right there in the parking lot, basically? You haven't heard anything from that?
No, not that I've heard of, but, you know, I don't know that it is going to be negative. I mean, you know, there are some people that, you know, they may not want to see a church. And again, me being a business owner downtown, I wasn't, you know, crazy about it, but at the same time, you know, I'm a Christian. I believe that people should, you know, should hear the word, and I think we'd be fortunate to have it. And again, as a business owner, I own multiple businesses, but also have cattle. I sell beef. So anytime a vacant building becomes available downtown, people call me, hey, you're going to open up a steakhouse? I have no desire to, but that's what they call me. So I looked at this building, and it's cost prohibitive. I mean, it is a shell. There's nothing there. So it's going to require a full upfit for whatever you do. So
The one beside it actually collapsed, did it not?
Yeah, the one that's now the parking lot, yeah.
Yeah, the one that's torn down is gone. Yeah, so that was, when this building originally came to be, and I went in, I was concerned about the structural of it, but that's when we realized that it was the building next door. I think this was actually the offices portion of Lincoln Times News. And so, you know, it didn't serve for as much damage, or somebody was able to salvage it in time. But if it goes much longer, it's just gonna be a, you know, like a domino. And I've been in the building next door. Like I said, it's currently for sale. I took Mr. Webb to see it. It's in worse shape. It's full of mold. I mean, you can't hardly stand to walk in there, because it hasn't been gutted like this one has. So unless somebody comes in with, you know, more than $2 million cash, it's going to take a lot of money to renovate both of these. So if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well, but I appreciate your time. So.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. Big. All right, if that's everyone who wants to speak about this. Everybody, all right, great. We're gonna go into board discussion only at this point in time.
I got another one. Briefly spoke to him on the phone like 6 months ago, but not pertaining to this building at all. Am I fine on this one?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're back in our same position. We got enough votes, so it's.
Yeah. All right.
In doubt, recuse yourself, otherwise.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with this
Okay,
building.
yeah,
So.
you're fine. All right, we'll go into board discussion then. I mean, I think me and you have probably more of the views and about this than the, you know, of us going back and forth on it. I mean, you know, ultimately, I mean, I get what what the building is, you know, currently, but I do worry about like us filling up. It's not just, it's just anything that's not going to bring economic, you know, growth to it. I'll say the terrible part out loud is this: we don't get taxes from churches. Like, I mean, if someone was to go in there as a commercial, and I understand to the presentation, we haven't had anything there that's been real, you know, but it was still, even with Lincoln Times News, they were still paying their fair share of taxes into it, you know, back to us. You know, and I go back and forth because, you know, you don't want to be the person who's up here. I know what I sound like right now. It sounds like I'm against church, and I'm like, that's not it. I'm looking at it from the point of view for the city of saying, we want to we have an economic business center in our central business, and, you know, does that fit that? And that's where.
Well, whoever owns it now has to be paying taxes on it.
Right. Right, but I mean, but another business could go in there and like it would generate more tax revenue for the city, you know, as something else than a church. And that I mean, and this is how I'm purely looking at it as like as part of this board is like, here's central business. This is fitted for the economic development side of it. Do we get, you know, like, what do we gain? And I think you answered that earlier. It's like how much are they going to be involved? Because I mean, I don't think we want to see a building that's just only open on Sundays and Wednesdays, you know, at night.
And I think the other thing that's part of this is the condition of that building and the fact that it's been vacant for as long as it has. And with the kind of future, if somebody doesn't come in and put some, you know, improvements to it, it's going to be, you know, a true eyesore as well as a real negative for downtown. So I think that's the other thing that weighs against this.
I mean, and I'll tell you, I don't feel comfortable voting for it. I just in the sense of just because the exact point of like about the ABC permits. Since we don't have an answer to that, I mean, I'll look at it and say, I don't feel comfortable giving a recommendation to city council, you know, saying, yeah, yes, do an approval, you know, and then come to find out, I know Gene's gonna look at it, but like right now with the facts I have in front of me, that worries me to an extent, like of like, it's right across the street, you know, and if that was to be something that could hurt, you know, the Citizen Center and their events, that gives me also great pause for it right now.
And you're going to bring it, like, if we vote on
Yeah,
it,
she's gonna.
so they're going to have that information.
Right, yeah, I mean, but I'm saying for right now, for like me, as I'm reading into this, and like, you know, that's one of the things that like, it's holding me back fully to being like, if I wanted to vote on the approval side, you know, because it's like, I need to know that answer. Yeah, like for me, you know, as part of this board, as we vote for it and, you know, for it to go to city council. Now, city council they'll do what they deem is right, but they'll have that information at that point in time. We don't, so therefore, like, I mean, that's another thing that I say that I have hesitation about right now for the approval of this.
No, I think you should bring these things up. This is why we're
Right.
here, and it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
Discussions or decisions, and ultimately, we don't know if they do come in, how involved they will be with the community. But even the person that's going to buy this has said, if it doesn't work as a church, at least the structure will be improved for whoever comes next, which is a big deal for that location and the amount of money that it would take to improve it for someone wanting to purchase it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the people who owned it before the current owner, were the people who own Sports Page. I mean, you know, like, I mean, they had an opportunity to bring a Sports Page, and you know, they saw, you know, they'd rather sell it and let somebody else own it, and you know, and unfortunately, the stuff that he thought of that didn't come to fruition, now it's back on the market, and so I mean, I think at some point in time there was a thought, you know, that it could be something else, but once again, it comes down for us as a board, which way do you see central business? You know, ultimately, I think it's what it comes down to for what we think economic development and like what we see as our downtown. How we're help shaping it right here, right?
Well, it could draw people into town.
It can. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's always your hope. I mean, for anything, yeah. I mean,
To whoever owns businesses.
right.
And it will not draw anybody in the
Like it is.
condition it is, and unless there's someone that's willing to put that kind of improvement in.
But I don't think we should look at things that's about like, hey, they're sitting vacant, so we should just go ahead and do something. I mean, I think it's once again it comes down to what we think as a board, what we see central business as, and you know, and if you see central business with having a church, then like, yes, you should vote for it in the affirmative. If you look at it as this doesn't fit that mold, then you vote in the negative. I mean, I think that's really kind of where you get down to like, you know, on this vote.
Well, you're just talking about one property, not the whole district. though.
Right, I get it, but I mean, but council's already. I mean, we've already got kind of the answer. You know, like that they don't really want churches, and it's kind of, you know, it's not. It wasn't permitted, right? And that's the reason why it's back in front of us. So, like I said, it comes down to us, each individuals, of like what we see for what downtown is.
Yep.
You know, that's just what ultimately I think is what it boils down to. Sorry, I'm done talking. Like, shut up. I'm supposed to be a soccer practice at 5:30.
No, I think it's important that you brought it up and we had an opportunity to discuss it,
right.
because I learn from these discussions, and it's why we're here and why we each bring kind of our perspective and to share that perspective.
No, I completely agree.
Thank you.
I have one more concern. This is not a very friendly topic, but one that needs to be at least discussed, brought up. The homeless population. You are going to reach out and be the hands and feet of Jesus. Big proponent, love it. We don't need anything else bringing the homeless in to sit on the corners and the sidewalks for a free handout. Sure.
And that's a great question. We're fully aware of that. And so part of what we mean by engaging the community isn't doing those traditional soup kitchen type things. We do partner with places. We want to partner with places like the Hesed House and Christian Ministries. Maybe you've moved them towards the Oakland neighborhood. And we would just say, hey, would encourage our members to serve there and not bring the people to that location.
Thank you, Chris. Yeah, I mean, it's
Very good
like,
point.
you know,
Well, yeah.
it's kind of crazy. I mean, we talk about this, but
I live right around the corner,
yeah,
so.
and that's what I love about Lincoln, because we do care. I mean, even yes, we have that population, and we have a homeless task force that meets, I think, at least once a month. You know, or
And-
maybe
and
a quarter.
minis- go
yeah,
ahead.
and Christian Ministries. I mean, yeah,
Well-
I mean, I really do appreciate that we have such a community that is willing to take care of
Ministries that will
Yeah.
teach them how to get a job or how to get help, or not just enable them to remain on the
Just have them
streets.
show up at the door, right?
Right.
And Jean, you I mean, that was part of the report in not so many terms is the accessory uses.
If it's not allowed in residential office, we wouldn't allow the church to do it. So that's what that number 4 is. Accessory uses are governed by other provisions of the underlying district.
Good.
And are forbidden if not permitted. So a soup
Okay.
kitchen would not be permitted.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anything else? All right. If not, then I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to entertain a motion for the approval or denial of.
Motion to approve as recommended by staff.
I have a recommendation. I mean, why not? A motion for approval with staff recommendations. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
No. All right.
That was my only note.
Yes. Correct. Yeah, I think I was the only person who said no. All right. If that is it, anything else from the planning staff at this point in time? City attorney, good? All right. Then I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
Adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second. All in favor? Aye. All right, we are done. Until next month.
Jobs are hard, but it's harder to be the person that says yes or no. But we appreciate it.
Oh, trust me, I know exactly how I